emphasis on American politics. There's a lot of social justice warriors who work there. So they put out this article about the confrontation with the quote, "As the Jones-Yuga encounter started getting attention, people turned to Twitter to show support for the Young Turks." Really? You look at the tweets that they embedded in this article that show support for the Young Turks. One of them has 1 retweet. Another one has 5 retweets. Okay, I was tweeting about this all throughout last night as it was happening, getting hundreds and hundreds of retweets. Other people seeing the video, making the point that Cenk Uygur, the Young Turks, and Ana Kasparian, who we'll get onto in a second, completely overreacted, completely had fits, adolescent temper tantrums, and made themselves look like complete lunatics. Okay, that was the reality of the situation. Whether we were rude and arrogant to crash the live broadcast in the first place, not the issue. Everybody at the RNC was doing that exact thing. So the optics didn't look good. That's why their staffers tried to block the media from filming the confrontation, but it was too late. There were too many cameras in the vicinity. We got it all on tape. Of course, as Alex explained in the aftermath, there were some shenanigans going on with YouTube. Some of our videos were deleted, later restored. But again, they don't have the moral high ground, and look at how the media reacted to it. You know, people on Twitter showed support for the Young Turks. Well, no, they didn't. People on Twitter who got 1 retweet, that's not everyone on Twitter showing support for the Young Turks. See how they manage perspective by closing the frame on how, you know, people react to this kind of situation. If they only focus on the tweets, which show support for the Young Turks, then they can build that narrative, which is not objectively true. If you look at my Twitter, if you look at other people who were talking about this, they all said, this looks pretty bad for the Young Turks, given that they're so-called, you know, tolerant liberals, getting aggressive, screaming at people, spitting in people's faces, and then trying to block the media from recording it. You don't have the moral high ground. You can't censor the truth when there's 100 frigging cameras recording it, okay? No matter how many stupid, twisted articles come out in the aftermath claiming otherwise. And again, they were the ones who flipped out. They were the ones who got aggressive. Alex's demeanor, you can watch it in the clip from beginning to end. Even when Cenk was screaming in his face, ripping his earpiece out, bowing up to him, looking like he was about to sock him in the mouth, Alex remained calm. These are the people who tell us Alex Jones is crazy out of control. The first thing they do when Alex tries to troll their broadcast in a completely friendly way, which everybody at the RNC was doing, is to get crazy and aggressive. And again, reverse it. Say Alex had been doing a live show, you know, with Rob Dew, with Biggs, with Leanne, whoever, and Cenk Uygur and Ana Kasparian and the Young Turks had come up and tried to troll it, tried to interfere, as other leftist comedians did to us on 2 separate occasions previously. Alex dealt with it in a calm and cordial manner, so did Leanne. Imagine for a second if Alex had dealt with it in the way that Cenk Uygur dealt with it. If Alex had started ripping the microphone away from him, had, you know, bowed up to him, screamed in his face. If Joe Biggs had spat at someone, if Joe Biggs had spat at Cenk Uygur amidst the fracas, how do you think the media would react to that? Well, they would call us crazy. They would call us aggressive. They would call us out of control. But they can do it, and it's perfectly fine. That's how the media massages reality. Now let's turn to Ana Kasparian of the Young Turks, and we got this clip coming up in a second. Okay, this is a woman who has made comments on several occasions saying that you shouldn't make reference to people's weight if they're overweight, because that's fat shaming. It hurts people's feelings. It's basically hate speech. It's abuse. What was the first thing that she did as this confrontation escalated? She got up, pointed her finger at Alex Jones and said, "Get off the stage, you fat F." That's what she said. This is the woman who on numerous occasions has made comments saying that saying people are fat, making reference to their weight, is horrible, is dreadful, and should never be done. Let's roll the clip.
A lot of the people that are picking on him for his weight gain aren't really lookers themselves. Yeah. Oh, and it's the classic bullying move where you want to feel better about yourself, so you look to someone and pick on their imperfections to feel good about yourself. It's stupid. She strikes me as someone who's actually trying to make a very serious and very terrible statement about overweight people. Look, I think that if someone that cares about you tells you, like, hey, let's get healthy together, it's not fat shaming. You know, fat shaming is pointing a finger at you and being like, you're fat. I think that this study is really fascinating because, I mean, I can relate to it big time because when I was about 4 years old, my dance instructor told me that I was overweight. And as a 4? Yes, and that stayed with me for the rest of my life. Now, I don't fit the results of the study. I'm not in an unhealthy body weight. At least I don't think I am. But you know, it does scar you, and you have issues with food and eating for the rest of your life.
So that is Ana Kasparian of the Young Turks saying that fat shaming is dreadful. It's terrible. Saying that, quote, fat shaming is pointing a finger at you and being like, you're fat. Saying that she was personally traumatized as a child because her dance instructor called her fat. Talking about Nicole Arbour, who of course received criticism for making a YouTube video making fun of fat people, and saying that Nicole Arbour was, quote, a very serious, very terrible statement about overweight people. Basically saying she was dreadful, she was terrible for making fun of fat people. Ana Kasparian, who said, quote, it's the classic bullying move where you want to feel better about yourself, so you look to someone and pick on their imperfections to feel good about yourself. It's stupid. She said all this for the past God knows how many years. She's decried fat shaming. She's championed the body positivity movement, which says that instead of trying to lose weight and become healthy, women should just get fat and feel comfortable with it because, you know, heart disease, diabetes, strokes is really trendy. That's cool. That's a new social justice warrior movement. She's the one who's decried fat shaming. She stood there. The first thing she screams out, she points a finger at Alex Jones and says, get off the stage, you fat F. Now, for a start, Alex has made the point over and over again. He admits that he got overweight at one point. He's lost a lot of weight since. He's made videos about that. But even still, him and Cenk Uygur are basically the same weight. So she's calling somebody a fat F who's the same size as her own boss. Okay? Having previously on numerous occasions decried fat shaming and saying that anybody who does it is a terrible, dreadful person. Well, I think that's very bigoted. That's very discriminatory from Ana Kasparian for her to engage in that kind of fat-shaming behavior when on previous occasions she's called people terrible for doing exactly the same thing. And I think she should really offer a sincere apology to Alex Jones for engaging in that hateful, bigoted act of fat-shaming. But of course, it's okay when liberals do it. It's okay when liberals completely violate their own virtues, their own principles. That's fine. But she's been caught out. The hypocrisy is rampant. The video is up on Infowars.com. And we're going to get more into it after the break. We've got Syrian Girl coming up in the next hour with breaking news on the latest with that horrible situation where the young boy was beheaded by Obama administration-backed Syrian rebels. We've got that and more news after the break. Infowars.com. Don't go away.
Again, if you're listening to this broadcast, Paul Joseph Watson is hosting it live with David Knight. David Knight's in Austin, Texas. I am, of course, about to get in the air back to Austin. Paul Watson is in London, England. I wanted to add one more point to everything we've seen. This is about the arrogant globalist class and the media class thinking they control reality. They thought they were gods because they've been manipulating an unconscious population has been in a trance. And now this whole Young Turk thing where they try to put all this disinfo and spin it is just a microcosm. That's why we're covering it. It's like a set piece. It's like an educational diagram. It's like a book report we're doing. They are just an example, a lens through which to see this, where they attempt to spin and put out disinfo and spit on us and call us fat and physically threaten to attack us, and then use insider groups. And I'm not saying they did it, but clearly YouTube did it, on the spot, on the YouTube stage, to start shutting our videos down so they can control the narrative. And it blew up, and they failed. And it's an example of when we fight, we win. When we lay down, we are unconscious, we sleep while they live. Okay, well, I'm going to live, you're going to live, we're going to live, we're going to wake up. It's not about liberal or conservative. It's about breaking out of this elitist mindset with these globalists on top of us that sit around arrogantly laughing at everyone. By the way, I got news for Ted Cruz. I just interviewed Congressman Carter from Central Texas. And I was sitting there about to get on the plane listening to him talk to his chief of staff. And I said, listen, I've been eavesdropping. You might ever report this? And they said, no, absolutely. Ted Cruz is done. You know, Texans keep their promises, and he's going to be unseated. And they said, the word is it's Rick Perry. Well, I said, at least Rick Perry is a Texan, and I think he could beat him. And Rick Perry isn't perfect, but, you know, the Bushes hate him. And so I'm going to back Perry or whoever else can defeat him. But they're looking right now. I've launched the exploratory research into it with Roger Stone. You see it in Politico. You see it in Roll Call today. We're not playing games, folks. This is the animating contest of liberty. When we stand up, we fight, we win. These globalists want to play games and tell us we don't have power and tell us we're nobody. It's because they know they're nobodies. Every time we take the field, we win. Every time we fight, we get stronger. We're on message. It's called Americana. Everybody's like, what is this message we're hearing from Alex Jones? What is this message we're hearing from Donald Trump? This is what we call Renaissance. This is what we call winning. This is what we call humanity standing up. Infowars.com. Back to Paul Joseph Watson. It is, what, about 11:56 Central Standard Time.
Okay, there's a special report again from Alex Jones and crew leaving the DNC to the RNC, today after their confrontation with the Young Turks. Again, final comments on that. Again, Anna Kasparian, the big proponent of body positivity and not fat shaming, openly fat shaming herself, pointing a finger at Alex Jones on stage, calling him a fat effer. Now, this reminds me of a story we had a few days ago, which, of course, was Melania Trump. She gave the big speech. There was the huge scandal, the massive controversy that never was about how she plagiarized a few sentences from it. But again, it goes to the heart of the point of how, you know, leftists will whine all day long about Donald Trump's supposed sexism, his supposed racism, while themselves engaging in rampant misogyny and bigotry against Melania Trump after that speech, for, quote, being a dumb bitch. Those are the comments from the tolerant progressive liberals in the aftermath of her speech. They called her a dumb bitch, said she couldn't speak English properly, despite the fact that she speaks 5 languages. So again, it's okay for them to be misogynistic, racist about somebody, so long as they're a conservative. Then it's acceptable, then it's okay. One rule for them, another rule for us. This is the heart of the point. Liberals, leftists are complete hypocrites. They create their own rules and they get exposed again and again. We'll be back for the second hour of the Alex Jones Show. Syrian Girl coming up with breaking news about the Syrian conflict. Breaking news at Infowars.com. Don't go away. We're back live on the Alex Jones Show. Just wanted to do a quick mention of the Infowars store. Of course, we've got Oakley gear now in stock at InfoWarsStore.com. This is really cool. Highest quality Oakley gear. We're proud to announce we've teamed up with the folks at Oakley, yes, the sunglasses people, to bring you the absolute best selection of Oakley gear. From sunglasses made with high-end patented technology to heavy-duty military-style backpacks and gloves. We only bring you the best, and hands down, Oakley offers some of the greatest gear out there. And again, check out the prices, check out the specials at InfoWarsStore.com. We've also got Brain Force. Now, this is something that I've championed before. If you remember, I told the story last time I visited Austin on about 3 hours sleep and completely jet-lagged. I hosted the entire 3-hour radio show the next day. And what helped me a great deal was Brain Force. This really helps focus your brain. It's not only a replacement for caffeine, it does wake you up, it does kick you into high gear, but not in a jittery way. It actually focuses your brain, helps you concentrate, helps you speak better, which is why whenever I can get my hands on it, I take this before doing an interview, doing a radio show, because it really helps you focus cognitively, and that is Brain Force. See why both listeners